Guys, welcome back. Welcome to Write With Me. I'm Joe, and today we are going to do some outlining and writing. We are going to look at the Xanatos Gambit. We're going to look at today's prompt, which is about character and sentimentality, and we are going to do a writing sprint. So let's get started. So if you haven't got it already, you can grab the printout of the Xanatos Gambit in my Patreon account. Grab that and come back, and we're going to work through that and write a really compelling villain plan. So the Xanatos Gambit, there's a video, I've linked it below in the comments, and you can grab that and you can watch that through. But basically, Xanatos is a character from Disney's Gargoyles, and he always wins, even when he loses. He's really clever that way. So the Xanatos Gambit starts when the villain is challenged or challenges the good guys, the heroes, in this case the gargoyles, and if he defeats them, then he wins, obviously. But if he defeats them, then he's got a backup plan, and then he has a backup plan for his backup plan, and backup plan for his backup plan, and at the end of the day, he always wins. And you can check out that video and grab that downloadable for more information about that. But we're going to do this for our own stories. So my story is a ghost story, and my ultimate villain is a ghost called Yara. And I've kept Yara mostly off screen. And I know kind of in my head sort of what this ghost is up to. But I'm going to break it down with using this gambit. So their first sort of like thing is that they like to make baby ghosts. So that's their thing. They want to make baby ghosts. And then they make a baby ghost, but the doctors revive the victim, which is my main character's sister. So they revive her. So then what her next kind of course of action is going to be to take the ghost anyway. So she takes the ghost anyway, even though the subject is still alive. So now we've got a living person with a ghost. But that ghost isn't aware that they're a ghost. So they're still loyal to their sister. They think that they're still alive. So she's going to trick her and tell her that that she's her mother and that she should go with her. So that's what she does. And she takes the ghost with her. So I'm just making really notes here. I might dig into this a little bit deeper, but I don't want to bore you. So I'm going to dig into this a little deeper. Got a little more there, but I'm going to go on here. All right. So this is where it gets a little bit more interesting, because now I've got an active protagonist. So I had a passive protagonist, things were happening, and it was kind of thwarting my ghost plan, but it's getting a little more complicated. And this is the point where I'm in the story. This is a muddy middle. And my protagonist has got some allies and some tools and is on their way to basically exorcise this ghost from the hospital in order to save her sister. And get her sister back. So she's going to be exorcised. So they found her lair. They found the ghost's lair, and they're going to practice an exorcism on her. Well, they've got a plan. They're going to get her. So what's she going to do? What's this ghost going to do? Well, this ghost has a tool up her sleeve. She has the ghost of her sister as an ally. She's going to send this ghost, and she's going to delay Priscilla, so that Priscilla isn't there when and her plan is she's going to turn one of Scylla's allies into a ghost as well. And this is the point of the story that I'm at. And I'm really excited about this when I figured this out, because the ally she's chosen is a character that I really love, who finds a joy in life, and seems slightly immune to being scared, finds the whole fear thing fascinating in a way. She's sort of an interesting character that way. So my thinking is that how you make a ghost in my story, in the rules of my world, is a ghost is made when somebody dies and scared to death, when they are scared to death. So what if Anna isn't scared to death? What if she isn't afraid? So she's not, when she dies, she doesn't make a ghost in that. So Yara loses, but friend's still dead, so it's a win-lose. But now Yara is going to frame another ally for the murder. And Scylla wasn't there, so Scylla's not going to have power because she was delayed. You see, like you got your villain needs to stay one step ahead of the other characters. So this is sort of where I'm up to in the story. I might go a couple of stages ahead, but I don't want to reveal too much because I'm hoping you'll eventually read it. So, what if Scylla? I don't actually, in the Xanatos Gambit, it's laid out that if they win or if they lose. But these decisions are made in my story, so I don't really necessarily need to go too deep into what would happen if Scylla didn't get tricked, if she actually was there. I actually kind of don't want to know that. I don't want to know the answer to that, because I want my characters, my readers, to think that if only Scylla hadn't been tricked, they would have been successful. If only she hadn't. But I suppose if she hadn't, then she would have lost her sister. So Sean Coyne talks about this in Story Grid. It's the best bad choice. So I guess I actually do know the answer. The answer is if she hadn't gone, then they might have succeeded in the exorcism, but she would have lost her sister, and Yara would have won because Yara would have gotten the sister, and converted her completely to ghost and ended the life of her sister in the hope of bringing her back and putting her ghost back in her body, which is the ultimate goal of the story. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I still got this one. So this is sort of my climax, I think. Or just before the climax. Not the climax, the climax of the mid-build. So here you can see it's got maybe you can't see. You can download these. So it's got an action, and then the result of that action, and then the result of that action is going to be a lose-lose for Scylla, but a win-win for Yara, because I want Yara to win. So that's sort of what I've described here, that if Scylla goes after her sister, then Yara wins because the exorcism doesn't work and we lose allies. But if she doesn't, then she's going to lose her sister, which is the ultimate goal. So that's sort of what I've described here. But I want to come up with this at the end too, and I want to make it in such a way that Scylla can't win. That Yara or it feels like all hope is lost, because that'll keep my reader reading and will she actually be able to defeat this ghost? This ghost is so clever. Which is what I love about the Xanatos Gambit, is it really makes me think about what's going on inside my villain's mind, more than motivation, but their plan and their strategy. So they're not just like, I want to take over the world, and that's so boring. But have a look at that and do it for yourself. And you can replay this and do it with me if you'd like, and go through those pages and figure it out. And some of the questions that I ask in this, which I might do before I forget that I don't have a touchscreen on this monitor. It's the one you guys are on. And so one of the questions is, what's their ultimate goal? So why do they want what they want? And what will make them win? Again, world domination is really boring. In this case, my ghost wants family. It's a very human thing to want. The ghost doesn't have family, so the ghost makes baby ghosts, which is just a new ghost, a ghost that I call them baby ghosts because I think it's kind of funny. It's supposed to be funny, so it's not. Anyway, it's turning out sadder than funny, but she wants a family. She wants children. So she creates baby ghosts so that she can have a sense of family. but it's kind of twisted and sick because she's killing people in order to make the ghosts, in order to literally scaring people to death in order to get the ghosts, in order to have them. But then once they sort of come of age and know they're ghosts, she loses interest. She's not interested in them anymore. She needs more baby ghosts. And so it's creating a very haunted hospital, which is causing all sorts of problems among the ghosts. There are other ghosts who don't like that. And this is very complicated little story in this crazy haunted hospital that I've written. But yeah, what the thing I'm looking for is there's a want versus need thing. And Sean Coyne says that you really need to spend much more time on your antagonist, on your shadow, as he calls it, than your hero, because people tend to focus so much on what the hero wants, what the hero needs. But if you don't have a really compelling antagonist, if you don't have a really compelling villain, then it just sort of falls flat. It really does. And arguably, the Gargoyles cartoon from the 90s, which is absolutely stellar, is so good because of the character of David Xanatos, who is just a genius, and he's brilliant. And he's just so lovely. And part of the problem with season 3 was that he ceased to be a villain. He becomes an ally. And when he becomes an ally, he sort of, it just didn't work the same way. It was too bad. And the creator who left the show ultimately said that season 3 isn't canon, which is interesting to think of that season 3 isn't canon. There's some really great episodes in season 3. And I highly recommend having a look at, if you can get your hands on the Gargoyles cartoon from the 90s. It's absolutely beautiful and really ahead of its time. And it's a shame that it didn't go on forever. Anyway, enough of that. Let's go on to today's prompt. Cool. So today's prompt is, what is your MC sentimental over? Now, obviously, I've got themes of family and themes of trauma, best bad choices. Life is almost futile. So Scylla is my main character, and Scylla is unique in a way for me as a character, and I'm really enjoying writing her because she's not the usual hero that I write. The usual hero I want is very open and honest. I tend to be extremely open and honest, and they're sort of devoid of subtext. Being dyslexic, I tend to be devoid of subtext. And this is something I realized about myself, that normal, I hate that word, but you know what I mean? Like, people who are not neurologically divergent tend to focus on different things and use a lot of subtext. And whether that's through sarcasm or through being overly polite or what have you, humans do not say what they mean. And if you've watched, I was just watching Sandman, and the villain in Sandman wants people to say what they mean, and he calls it lying. He doesn't want them to lie. I think that, that's probably a simplistic way of looking at it. Now, a year ago I might have said, yeah, I'm on his side. He's right. They're all liars. But now I think, you know what? He's just a full-on bad guy. There's a reason why we have social norms, and there's a reason why we don't do exactly what we want to do all the time. We don't give into our id. But dyslexia tends to not recognize, at least my version of it, tends to not recognize the social barriers and norms that are accepted in the societies in which I have lived. And so my characters tend to be like that because I am that. So I'm trying to write a non-dyslexic character, basically. She is not neurologically divergent. She is neurologically typical. And that is extremely hard to write. And I don't know if I'm being successful because I don't know what it's like to be that more than anything else. But she is highly traumatized, and I'm exploring what that would mean for her as opposed to what it would mean for me. And so I didn't mean to create this character, but I did, and I like her a lot. I think I would be her friend, which I don't think I could say about many of my characters. But I think I think she would make me very sad because of how much she hides. And then I had to ask this question: what is she sentimental about? Well, she sort of avoids any kind of emotion. Unlike me, I just sort of put it all out there, but she avoids it, puts up lots of walls, and I'm crashing down her walls in this story, because that I do understand, crashing down walls. And so I need to know what's behind the wall. And ultimately, I mean, she's very sentimental about her sister. Maybe I should Google what sentimental actually means, because I'm not sure that it means what I think it means. I'm feeling it a little bit there. Ooh, hello. Hi. Good to see you. Thanks for watching. Wonderful. Let me know what you're writing, what you're working on. So sentimental is, I'm going to let the phone ring, is of or prompted by feelings of tenderness, sadness, and nostalgia. So definitely her sister and her relationship with her sister is that. And she is feeling that. But I think, like I know what my others, there's a lot of shoes in this story. People's shoes seem to be a theme. I'm not sure where that came from, but I've got a character who's obsessed with his running shoes. And then Scylla spends the greater part of the story so far barefoot. And being a plantster, I didn't plan that. It just kind of happened, but I feel it's sort of intuition on my part. Mental about her sister. So let me know in the comments what your character is sentimental about. You're editing your manuscript of your first book. Awesome. Good job. Good job. Let me know if the Xanatos Gambit was helpful that we just went through, and what your character is sentimental about. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, it's exciting. This is my second live, and it's the first time anyone commented, so thank you. Wonderful. So, yeah, I think it's important to know what they're sentimental about, because it's, you know, it causes that sort of pain for the reader when they know that they have to give something up. So she doesn't have any kind of items with her. She's lost her shoes, she's lost her mobile phone at this stage. Our mobile phone wasn't working. I had her lose her mobile phone because she needed hands-free. Basically, I just needed her not to have things in her hands. And so also it gave her an excuse to look for a piece of paper. That's what she's sentimental about. She's got release papers for her sister, and those are very precious to her, because those release papers signify being able to get out of this crazy haunted hospital. So that is something that she's hugely sentimental about. So that's pretty cool. All right. So the last thing on our to-do list today is to do a sprint. So I'm going to write the organ scene. This was a prompt from a few days ago, and it's been on my kind of radar for a while. And I'm going to write freehand today. I do have my novel up on my screen, but I'm going to write freehand because I tend to write slower when I write freehand, and I'll remember to talk to you, and I won't just sit there. Because last time I went live, I was sitting and typing, and I think that was a bit boring for you to watch. Let me know in the comments about format and that sort of thing. This is only my second live, so I am just trying to figure it out as I go. But yeah, that was cool. All right. So, so I thought it would be kind of fun. So the reason I had the organ prompt was it was Organ Donation Day, and I'm fascinated by organ donation because for a long time I was scared to sign up for organ donation because every time I thought about it, I I flashed forward to being dead on the autopsy table naked and someone cutting out my organs. But in my dream, in my flash forward, I was awake and it was horrifying. And I have a very active imagination. And I finally got over that. Well, not so much. I could still do it and still, but I realized that is just, I identified that as just like me creating an image in my head, and it's not real. I'm going to be dead when they take my organs out, or at least I won't be conscious. I don't think I think you're actually technically alive. I think they keep you, I'm not sure exactly how that works. I'm not a doctor. But I thought it'd be a nice way to kind of shout out and bring awareness to organ donation, because it's something I do believe in. More, more as a sustainability thing. It's like, there are these things that are useful and they could save a life, and why would you just throw them in the ground or burn them up? That doesn't, like, that seems wasteful to me. I'm very strange. I'm very sorry for how strange I am. No, I'm not. I actually enjoy how strange I am. I hope you enjoy too. But I thought it'd be kind of interesting to think about what organs are inside these ghosts that I've created, and how that would work, and how that would play into the sort of comedic horror that I'm going for. So I thought, sort of at the beginning of the third act, as a sort of beat, I could have either my main friendly ghost display their organs, or I might actually have another ghost because they're all see-through, showing off their organs, and that could be kind of horrific and scary, and but also kind of humorous and funny, and a nice way to start the third act, because after having everything kind of lost and stuff, or maybe that can kind of come into play with the fact that we've got an unconscious character in Scylla's sister, and then we're gonna have a dead character, and maybe bring organ donation into that. So I'm gonna do that really quick. So when I am outlining a scene, I write down the things I want in that scene, what that scene to do. Now I want the scene to be funny, because I need it to be a respite, because I'm going to have a pretty dark, heavy scene ahead of it. So this is the beginning of the third act. So we've had the end of the second act, which is really dark and negative. The heroes lose and everybody. So we need it to be a little bit funny, a little bit of a reprieve. I need to set up the third act. So I need it to include the inciting incident. I need it to, it doesn't have to have organ donation, but I'm going with that because I think that's kind of interesting. I need it to include, I think I want to frustrate my main character. My main character's going to be sad and maybe scared and feeling alone, but frustration, if I can get that frustration feeling to trump those other emotions, then that will compel her forward, I think, which I think is an interesting thing to do. So I will do that. So I need to frustrate her. So I feel like Poe is my friendly ghost. Poe is the perfect character to frustrate her because she's very frustrating. And then what I like to do once I kind of have an idea of what I want down there is that I'll have my 5 mandatory. I just skipped 3. I just heard 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4, 5. What are they called? Commandments of storytelling, as Story Grid says. So that is your inciting incidents, your progressive complication, your crisis, climax, and resolution. So the resolution I already know. I know that I want Scylla to have a new resolve to move forward. And I know my progressive complication is going to be Oh, I just had a really dark thought. What if they could save Anna if they had organs to donate, and S, Scylla's sister, is a match, but she's not dead? That is interesting. That is interesting. That gives me my crisis. Do we save Anna and sacrifice us? And of course we don't, and Anna dies, and it's the climax. So maybe Anna dies at the end of at the beginning of Act 3, not the end of Act 2. That's cool. I like that, because then Anna's death has more meaning. It has more of a plot point, which I was kind of worried about. I don't like to kill characters. It's hard in a horror not to kill characters just because you need a victim. But I like to have another reason story-wise. Especially when I'm killing a female character, which I almost always have to do because I have almost no male characters in my stories. I have like token men, unfortunately. It's like I need a character here. I'll make it a woman. Does it need to be a woman? Does it need to be gendered at all? You know what? I get halfway through my story and there are no men in my story. All right. So the progressive complication would be that S is a match. And the inciting incident then is that Anna is mortally wounded, which would be the result of the mid-build. So when you're writing a scene, different than when you're writing a short story, the progressive or the inciting incident is often, not always, but often the resolution of the scene prior. So that'll give me that. Cool. So I've just outlined that whole scene, and I'm going to sit down and write it. Shall I leave this going and you can join me, or shall I say ta-ta and sit down and write? Well, let's see what happens when I leave it going. Maybe when I do the replay, I'll cut it out if it's a little bit boring. But as I'm going to just sit down and write this scene now, and I will pop up from time to time and tell you what I'm doing. That you want to write with me, that's great. If you want to work through your Xanatos Gambit, again, that link's there. Or check out some of my other videos on this channel and hit the like and subscribe. Thank you very much for joining me. And now I'm going to write this scene. Well, I should say I'm listening to a playlist I created for this. And if you want to listen to it too, I don't want to play it live because I don't own the rights to the songs. But if you want to listen to it too, I've put a link in Spotify and you can listen as well. It might not fit your story, but it's kind of quirky ghost story playlist, which is sort of interesting. It has words, which I really enjoy, but some people don't like to have words in there when they're writing, but I like it because similar to ADHD, dyslexia likes to occupy this part of their mind so this part of their mind can focus, and so that's what I'm doing there. One thing I like about writing by hand is that I can, especially when I am sort of doing a first draft, is I can very easily jump around. So what I've just done is I wrote one line, and then I realized I wanted to write a sentence above it, so I did that, and then I wrote the next line, and then I said, oh, I need something in between, and then I need something in between that, and I can do that without, when I write on the screen, I have to move up and down and in Word, and it's less organic, whereas I could just write, like if you could see my page, can you see that? I write all over it. I don't write in order. So just write in TK because I was going to write hist the other orderly, but I already used hist up here, so I want a different thing. And I don't like using dialogue tags that are a little overly descriptive, but at the same time, I want to describe it when it's important. So this is a pretty intense scene. I've got a near dead body. I've got two characters that are going to be accused of murder. So they're not going to just talk normally. So I've just written TK. So TK means to come. It is spelt wrong on purpose. I have found out because a lot of editing notes are spelt wrong on purpose, so they can't be confused with the regular text. So it's done intentionally, which I think is really interesting. And my dyslexic brain loves that. I just love that it's spelled wrong. It makes me very happy in a strange sort of way. I'm quite happy with that. I just I was trying to figure out how to relay the message that they're being held without too much exposition, and I've realized that if my characters stand up for themselves and say we didn't do it, then that tells the reader and Scylla that they have been accused. It kind of brings you in mid-conversation, which I think I really like that. So that's cool. I'm going to have to do some Googling here. So I'm going to write TK again. I need to know what's wrong with Anna. And I need to do a minor Google search. I don't want to get too specific, but I need to have kind of a general overview of, like I said, I'm not a doctor. So I need to know what's wrong with her and how it can be fixed. And how Scylla needs to basically pull the plug on her sister in order to save Anna. But she doesn't want to because she still thinks she can get her ghost back into her body. And I need all of that information conveyed very succinctly and without going into too much depth because I'm not a doctor. But so I'm going to write TK again. Oh, sorry. I just dropped my pen on the table. It was really loud. Sorry, everybody that's in headphones. But I'm going to write TK in a different color because it's starting to all blend together in my eyes. And very gently set down my pen. Sorry. Sorry, I just really don't want to do that quite. In a previous video, I talked about I've got a character called Gunnar who has limited speech. In fact, he only says the word yes, and only when he really, really, really wants to speak. But he can hear ghosts. And this is an interesting dynamic because that I want to explore more, and I'm going to here. So the Scylla can hear ghosts, so I don't get to use it that much, but my character Kristen can't. And so the ghost has said something Scylla doesn't like. This is a great opportunity, because Gunnar's heard it, for Kristen to get that information out of Gunnar, which I'm really excited about. So cool. I love this. This is so much fun. Thank you for joining me. I can see we're almost at the 40-minute mark. I'm going to keep going, but thank you very much for joining me. And we'll do this again very soon. Subscribe to my channel. And I will also be posting an edited version of this without the little breaks where I'm so that you can get just the highlights version very soon. Thank you very much, and keep writing.